I can't feel the pain, I'm numb to all you say. To keep it real and stay 100 through the rain. I can feel there's something missing from your face. So keep it real and stay 100 in your veins. Put me in these boxes, still I'm tryna break away. I just roll it up and down some liquor for my pain. Thoughts inside my head, it's nightmares instead of some dreams. I've been tryna hold on to everything from the seams. Try to get it by any means. There's no accepting defeat with all this pressure that's on me. Stressing whenever I breathe, cause everything is on me. If everybody is down, I gotta pick up all the pieces. Yeah, I can't fall, cause I do it for my daughter, so she can make it farther. Ain't worry about your comments, cause I believe in karma. No time for your bullshit or any petty drama. Yeah, chinks in my arm.
Cause he wanna life. Headlights, I've been whipping midnight through the city. I've been going through some things, tryna get my mind right. Push the bucket to the limit, push that bitch into the finish. Gotta get the full control, gotta get my mind right. Headlights, I've been whipping midnight through the city. I've been going through some things, tryna get my mind right. Push the bucket to the limit, push that bitch into the finish. Gotta get the full control, gotta get my mind right. Yeah.
What's going on, Cowboys Nation? Got my guy Space here. What's going on, Space?
No, I'm doing good. Hey, listen, you can't win them all. I'm not upset, and we'll get into why in just a moment.
Yeah, definitely, man. So the Cowboys fall to the Philadelphia Eagles 26-17 after a very, very slow start, to say the least. Falling down 20 points, but the third quarter was a very good quarter for the Cowboys. They came back, they fought, but it was a little too little, too late, man. And I normally like to start things off with pros and cons, so it's not necessarily a victory. But what were your pros from yesterday's game?
I think the Cowboys, with how the game went, the formula's there. They have a team that can run the football and play the time of possession well, and I think that's something they got to do. I mean, Zeke was averaging 6 yards a pop last night, and that's something that's very impressive. Another thing is, Terrence Steele played fantastic. Brandon Graham and Hassan Riddick really weren't towards the end of the game, sure, but that was when the game was out of reach. I think that your offensive line did good for the circumstances. Also, your defense, too. I think that a lot of people aren't talking about the fact that A.J. Brown, when he was over on Triv on side, I think he only had a catch or two. And I think that the other thing, too, is Turpin had a really nice showing. I think he nearly broke one. I think
he almost broke two, really, honestly.
Actually, yeah, I was going to say more one than the other. But I think when you look at this, there are things to take away. You went into Philadelphia. They were a touchdown favorite. And you look at how the possessions, the play-by-play, it was punt, Eagles touchdown, interception, touchdown for the Eagles, turnover on downs, field goal, interception, field goal. The Cowboys spotted the Eagles literally 13 points. I thought it was just 10. I didn't realize it was actually 13. So when you think about it, this game could have been won by Dallas. And I think that you got it. Listen, I know people are getting shit on Mike for the challenge, which we'll get into in just a second with the cons. But they did a really good job adjusting in the second half. I was very surprised at how well they did, and I think that it goes to show you that this team does have resiliency, even though they did lose. That's telling. You know,
Yeah.
they didn't just lie down.
Yeah, definitely. So, was that all your pros, or
Yeah.
was that the end of? Yeah,
Mhm.
I think my biggest pro yesterday was the emergence of our young tight ends,
Absolutely.
Ferguson, and Hendershot. I think that two's better than one, and at this point, you have to possibly look at when Schultz comes back, him taking a back seat to these guys, because not only can they do what he can do in the catching game, but both of them, I think they get open a little bit better. I think they have better hands. They obviously block better. So that helps more in the play action game. And we know Ferguson, I knew this coming out of the draft, that he was going to be better yards after catch. And that's something that can be utilized in this offense. Hopefully later on, Kellen can kind of devise some tight end screens and things like that to get him the ball in space a little bit more. But I really think that we could build on what we had with the young tight ends yesterday. Obviously, you pointed out that the run game was really good yesterday, and Tony Pollard wasn't pedestrian himself. He had about 4 yards of carry, and that's an off night for him. It just so happened that Zeke was on. And I think once Cooper Rush did settle down, we were able to kind of speed up the tempo and get back to the play action game like we need to. As far as defense, and I'll talk about it with my cons, but once we adjust and we put the hooks in. I think that Donovan Wilson, while he did miss some tackles yesterday, I do think he was very instrumental in the game plan of slowing them down, with helping with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts did not run very much yesterday, and that was by design. We made him hand the ball off. I think that our defensive line played pretty good, really good against the number one or one of the best offensive lines in the league. So I think that you got to take your hats off to that. Did they run towards the end? Yeah, they did. But I think for the most part, I thought we held up pretty well, especially in the second half. And another pro that I would say is that Dak Prescott's coming back. Cooper Rush was 4-1 during his time as a starter. And I think that he more than surpassed what we thought. And I think that he had an out-of-body experience this year playing, because if you looked at this guy in training camp and the years prior, you wouldn't think that he would belong on the NFL roster, let alone win you 4 games. So I think that Cooper Rush, we got the most out of him during his time. And, I'm saying it's time to move on. So let's jump to cons. Like, what were your cons?
Ooh, so we all know what the hell happened in the first half. Like, it was everything went wrong. The Cooper Rush was rattled. We didn't match the energy in Philadelphia up until we got into the third quarter. But for me, it's as simple as this, right? You turn the ball over like more than 3 times, you're going to lose a game. It's just a matter of how much. And I think that that's what killed the Cowboys, because what worried me was when they adjusted in that second half. They did everything right. I'm not trying to take away what they did, but the problem was that you were playing that game where, like, you literally have to hope to God that the Eagles just get stopped once, and you pray to God that you could score, which that's why you don't want to get behind 20-0. Kellen pissed me off. The first freaking play, I was like, why are we doing trick plays now? Like, that just tells me something's up here. Like, what's with this game plan? And so I do like the adjustment, but you should have been doing it in the first half. Rush is a guy that needs to be settled into these games. That's what we've been doing in these first couple games. And honestly, I felt like if you held Philadelphia to 20 points, you would have won the game.
Yeah.
And so that's number one. Number two, Mike McCarthy killed momentum for Dallas with not challenging the play. Now, he said there was like some officiating procedure. I don't know if he's referring to, like, I know that some coaches are gun shy about challenging spots, but, like, come on, man. That was clear as day. It wasn't even the fact that we sat and waited. They just, all right, let's go. And it was a terrible play call too.
Yeah. It was a terrible, and a terrible decision.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like dude, you were running the ball. Well, at that point in time, like you just need like 1 yard, and you can't just hand it off. I understand it's not a given. You can't do a QB sneak. Philadelphia did exactly that. Also, speaking of which, I nearly wanted to kill Dante Fowler because he really fucked you. Because now I still think Philadelphia would have gone for it, and if they get it, whatever. But dude, you cost your team 7 points.
Gotcha. I also think that Goddard kind of leaned forward before he went into motion when I saw it.
Oh, you're talking about the false start that should have been called? You're talking about?
Yeah, it was 4th and 4.
Oh, that was bullshit. They should have been called. I was like, I literally was on Twitter. I'm like, well, no, there was another play. I think it was on the same drive. I was like, where wasn't there a false start there? Like, what the hell? And then I understand. I got to get this off my chest because this pissed me off. When Goddard really had the nerve to be like, "Hey, he's taunting me." Stop being such a freaking pussy, dude.
How did he get the call? That was the biggest thing for me.
So here's what happens. So Micah breaks it. He goes up to him and like he doesn't shoulder tap him. He kind of gets up to him and he's like, "Yeah, that's what's up." And then and he goes like, and then he points to he's like looking at this at the ref. He's like, and then they saw that 8 seconds after they then flew through the flag. So fuck you, Dallas Goddard, you fucking pussy. Anyways, just had to get that off my chest. Nothing really bad. Special teams, defense, the run defense, man. I'm really concerned, and it's like, Space Cowboys just won't get. No, it's because they ran on you when they wanted to, and you couldn't stop it. Now you can argue how we put them in the situations. Whatever, I get it, but that's cause for concern. That has been the major Achilles heel with this team. Is that right now we would get up early. And then we would kind of let them get one-dimensional. Now that when they run the ball on you, you need to stop that. And that's what killed you. If you were able to stop the run and take the ball into Jalen, that's what was winning you at the first one. Like, I don't know why you couldn't do it. I think that I think more so I wasn't pleased with LVE at all in this game.
Thank you. I thank you for saying that. I haven't been pleased with him for a couple games.
He's for what I'm asking him. He's okay, but that doesn't. Yeah. I'm not saying he's been complete trash. It's just my expectation has been that he felt lost a couple times this game. I understand what you're paying him, so whatever. But I think that what this team really needs to do is it's. Against a team like Philadelphia, you needed to play Micah more off ball. Like you needed to play him off because the problem was that's how they were getting you because you're trying to force Micah to rush when really if they're playing the run, you need him to be doing that linebacker duty, not this rushing the passer shit. That's just how I would have imagined it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that our D line was good enough because with Jalen Hurts, you don't really want to rush him. You want to keep him corralled in that pocket. You want to get him off that first read to where, he runs around and then throws the ball away like he did a couple times yesterday. So I agree with you there. And if in that game, I'm with you. Our linebackers had trouble scraping. Yep. And that's really
tackling
the issue.
Too.
That's the issue that's been in our run game. And I've been, trying to explain that to people who love LVE. It's like, do you love LVE because you have a low expectation and he's exceeding that? Or is he just okay? Because I think he's just been okay.
I'm going to be real with you, man. Like, listen, if you know me, I was pretty harsh on Jalen Smith when he was here in Dallas because I felt like the dude, it's not that he's not smart. I want to make that clear. He's extremely intelligent. I wanted to see how he was doing with the Giants. He knows what the play is. It's just physically his body couldn't do these things, right? The problem with LVE is that there are times where I feel like he doesn't sometimes know what's going on. And also like, he'll make plays here and there, but it's not as consistent. So I'm trying to be as equal as possible with the two because it's like I see people that just shit on Jalen but want to praise LVE and sometimes vice versa, which in all actuality, to be honest with you, like LVE was just brought back on the cheap because we could bring him back on the cheap.
Yeah.
There's a reason they declined his fifth-year option. Like, come on, man.
It's because LVE has the presidential cowboy look, and you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, you know it, man. Like,
all right. For example, it's almost the same love fest that people had with Sean Lee. And I loved
Mhm.
Sean Lee early on, healthy Sean Lee. But there were times where you would just see Sean Lee get blasted. He was just too light in the ass sometimes at linebacker. He was very, very smart. And then it got to a point where his body, like you talked about,
Mhm.
could no longer withstand the punishment. And, people took up for Sean Lee. And it got to a point where it's just like, all right, well, we got a Jalen Smith because Sean Lee just can't take it anymore. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? LVE, we got all these linebackers on standby once they're healthy because
Mhm.
LVE, like you said, he just doesn't have it anymore. You know what I'm saying? And
He's
it's not an indictment on LVE to say that LVE is trash. Like you said, he showed flashes, but for the most
he's
part, you
he's
would
doing
just
his
see,
job. He's doing
yeah,
his job to the best that he can. And if you know LVE the player, you know what you're getting. That's just the plain. And I agree with you, DMV. I don't think you should come in with the because listen, look at how the Cowboys are rebuilding that linebacking core. There's a reason why they're doing it. And when Damone Clark comes back, if he has any semblance of being good or back to what he was in college, LV, like this is LV's, in my opinion, his last. I think he had a 1-year deal, so it's his last year in Dallas. So,
well, I'll tell you what, it was a great insurance policy to at least
oh
sign
yeah,
him back. So I will give them that. And I
Mhm.
do think that for his value, I think that he's probably outplaying what his value is. And I think that
Mhm.
people are using that to say that he's good. Because you haven't heard. Here's the thing about it. If he had a big contract, it would be for all that money, he's not doing anything. I hate to break it to people, but Jalen Smith last year when we cut him really wasn't playing that bad of football. As a matter of fact, in the
Mhm.
Eagles game, he was an instrumental part in shutting down Jalen Hurts
Mhm.
with the quarterback spy in that game. A
I,
lot of people want to forget that,
mhm.
but Jalen Smith left a bad taste in people's mouth because of the swipe and
And the
because
contract.
in the contract, exactly. So, um, yeah, like somebody said in the comment section, okay, just isn't good enough anymore. And it's
Yep.
not just him though, because Anthony Barr got blown up out the lane a little bit yesterday too,
Mhm.
and got spent around and stuff like that. So I don't want to make it seem like it's just LVE. Anthony Barr at times has gotten blown up out. I mean, he's tried
and
to fill, and they've got his ass up out
and
of there.
this is one of the, and I'm not trying to do this as a I told you so. This is why I wanted the Cowboys to go get a Von Miller type, because this allows you to not have to put Micah on the edge as much, even though you should still do that.
Yeah.
But and then you have the ability to have him play off ball, so you don't have to be forced to be in these particular situations, right? And that's kind of why I get so damn annoyed. What's going on, Pat? That's why I get so damn annoyed with how the Cowboys approach this offseason. I'm not going to listen. And that's why I'm kind of holding my breath until the season's over to make a full judgment on how I feel about this team.
Yeah, and I didn't get a chance to really talk about my cons, so I'll talk about my cons, and then we can kind of get into that
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
conversation.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's all good. I thought Cooper Rush left a lot of plays on the field yesterday. He left a lot of plays, and while I praised him for going above and beyond, some of those throws were throws that he normally makes, and he was selling the ball all night, and it wasn't any pressure that Philadelphia was putting with their front four. That was we heard all week. We heard all week about how the pressure we're gonna get him off his spot. They very rarely got Cooper Rush off his spot. Cooper Rush, I don't know if it was the bright lights. I don't know if it was the fact that maybe Dak is close to coming back and he felt like he needed one last hoorah, but it just felt like he was pressing all night and the ball just was not coming out of his hand normally like we'd seen it. There was hardly any zip on the ball last night, and I mean, God, he was missing guys wide open. I mean, like somebody pointed out before, they said that we abandoned Zeke, which is funny because we abandoned Zeke in the running game early on that first scripted on the script. We never really got out of that script. Can you read again? What were our first 5 possessions again?
Yeah, sure. So here's what happened. So if you want me to go in detail on the first drive, it was a 3 and out. It
Okay,
was
plays.
yeah, it was so yeah, 3 plays. Keep in mind, by the way, it was literally the trick play, incomplete pass, which I think was this where he put the ball wrong on Lamb, and it's like the fucking linebackers all like, "Oh, I did a good job." Dude, no, if he puts the ball a little bit further, that's more yardage there. And then we got stuffed at the line with Zeke. That was the punt. The next drive, let's see what happens here. Rush, that was a Pollard pass for 8. Then the Ferguson that was when they the penalties offset. Pollard 2-yard run, Zeke 4-yard run, incomplete pass, punt.
How many plays was that?
I think that was 5. 1, 2, 3. Well, I'm not including the penalty, so 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, you
5.
can include the penalty because
Six.
I'm trying to see when we finally got out of our script.
6.
So it was 6 plays. All right, so we're at 9. Okay.
Okay. Then the interception. 1 play interception. So
okay,
that's
10 plays. That's 10 plays. That's 10.
Turnover on downs. Ready? So Zeke 1 yard, incomplete pass, 8-yard pass to 8-yard pass to Lamb. That was the where he should have gotten the first down. Turnover on downs. So that's 4 more right there.
Okay, so we're at what, 13? No, I'm sorry, we're at 14. We're at 14. So how many possessions is that? That's 4, right?
We're already at 4 possessions. Here's the 5th possession. Ready? 15-yard run up the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Short yard for no gain. Pollard to the right for 1 yard, interception. That was when it was batted up and is intercepted. That's
5 possessions.
5 more plays there.
So we didn't get out of our script. We didn't get out of our script until 5 possessions, bro. Like that. That's an ineffective script, right?
That's
there.
what lost you the game right there. Because I want you to think about this, guys. And I know I don't want to, like, if you have more cons, I don't want to take away from what you got to say here. Yeah. Because then you finally got points on the board on the final drive. Because that's when they really started getting going. Was that final drive, which nearly was a touchdown, but of course, Noah couldn't get his. Oh my God, I really wish that was a touchdown. It would have been amazing. But you got 3 points. So think about this, right? You spotted the Eagles 3, 6, 13 points through 3 possessions of yours. And that's what lost you the game here. And I understand that Eagles fans are excited, and understandably so. But this was a game where the Cowboys did themselves in. The Eagles capitalized. The Cowboys had a chance to win, but if they didn't blow it in the early going, they would have won this game. And they ran out of time at the end.
So I got one more question about that. So after that 5th possession, at what point, at what time was that in the second quarter?
For what?
After the 5th possession, like where were we?
When we started getting going, you're saying?
No. I mean, like, what's the time on the clock?
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
So, after the 5th possession, there was 2 minutes and 39 seconds. I'm sorry, that was let me see, 5 minutes and 14 seconds. But if you want to count when Philadelphia scored the field goal to go up 20-0, that was 1 minute and 47 seconds remaining in the second quarter, and you still haven't scored.
Oh my God. So we pretty much went through the whole first half not getting out of his 15-play script.
Correct.
Because that right there lost you the game.
Right, because the problem was you turned the ball over too many times, so you couldn't get out of the damn script.
Yeah.
But the script was the reason you were in that situation to begin with.
So here's the crazy thing about that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even look that up. The fact that we just talked about this live, is your proof. That's your proof. That's really what lost the game. I didn't think it was that bad.
Oh, it was that bad. I didn't talk on that, but I was like, I think we went. I think I tweeted it. If I didn't, I was going to. I was like, I think we went 5 possessions in, and we just got out of a script.
and that's terrible because.
And you had 10 possessions. Yeah. 10 offensive possessions. Half of them were your script.
Oh my God, that is terrible. So once we finally you could tell when we finally got out of the script. For one, we were in the 2-minute drill, which we drove down the field, and you could see that we loosened them up a bit. Then in the second half, once we run in play action, it was a lot more balanced at that point.
Right.
Now, my problem with this script, and we're still in the cons. My problem is that there were no play actions in the damn script.
None of them.
It was straight drop back passes. And we hadn't been doing that the entire time Cooper Rush had been the quarterback. It was almost like we were trying to make Cooper Rush. Somebody said it before, and I'll put it. We were trying to make Cooper Rush something that he wasn't.
Right. And that's what killed you in this game. I think our first play action pass was like, I think that was at the beginning of the third quarter, if I'm on. I could be wrong, but I think you went literally the whole first half without a play action pass. And keep in mind too, when your freaking quarterback has a QBR or QB rating of 1, like you're not gonna win a game like that. That's how bad he played. And I'm not. That's no fault. Oh yeah, by the way, shout out to Zeke, man. You know, he is an elite company. I'm not sure if people know this. He actually, in terms of yards per scrimmage, I think he's third all time behind Falk and Tomlinson. I could be wrong there, but I know he's in that elite company. So I'm telling you, man, like Zeke's having for what he's been given. I'm not complaining about Zeke.
Not at all. Not at all. And here's the crazy thing about his game. Zeke ended up with 82 yards, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So do we remember what he ended up with at halftime? I want to say Zeke had about 70 yards after halftime.
I don't think he had a whole lot to start the game. I think he didn't really have any yardage. He got all of it in like the second half.
Yeah. That's ridiculous because I don't know if it was like they think, oh, Philadelphia thinks we're going to run because Zeke is killing them. Yeah, he was averaging 97 yards a game in 10 games against them. Run the damn ball, bro.
And you saw it, like I think the first, like I think like when you kind of saw it getting going, like I was like, okay, maybe you could run the ball a bit more, but you were imposing your will on them, and it really felt like you just needed one. Like I don't know, man. Like I don't want to keep going on about it, but it's just like it really felt like this is a game that got away from you. But at the end of the day, you know what? And I hate the BS moral victory crap, but dude, the fact that the Cowboys didn't lay down in this game says something. I don't know what, but it just told me a lot.
Yeah, it told me more so about Philadelphia, I think, than it did us, to be honest with you. I felt like Philadelphia showed us who they are. They're a second quarter team, which is fine. That's great. But when they run into a quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over, that can control a game, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. And, you know, like we talked about pre-show, when you're an undefeated team, you start thinking undefeated. Right. So the last 2 weeks, they played like it. They just scratched and scraped by. And that's not saying anything bad about them. I'm not saying anything that their own fan base doesn't know. That they're having trouble closing out these games. But I mean, let's look at the murderer's row of quarterbacks, like Rome would say. I mean, you don't have anybody that's going to make you pay. You haven't played anybody that's going to make you pay.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry, my bad.
No, I was actually done with that point. Go ahead.
No, like I've told Eagles that, listen, I love the NFL and I love the Cowboys, but as a fan of the NFL, listen, I knew Philadelphia was going to be a good team. I had them going 11-6 before the season began. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for that information. Yeah. That goes to show you how effective Zeke was in the second half. But besides that point, I have said, and I tell Eagles fans this all the time, including my buddies who are Eagles fans, and they agree with me. This is a formula that can screw you in the postseason. They'll be there. But my problem is, oh my God. But
everybody's on it right now.
Shit, I'm glad. But that nearly got him in this game. Like, I don't give. Oh, we dominated you. Bullshit. That, you know what happened? You guys took advantage of opportunity, which I'm applauding. Listen, you did your thing. I'm not bitching about that. What I'm saying is don't be dishonest with how the game went. If you watch that game and take your the dumbass rose-colored glasses off, that game nearly got away from them. And it's been the same way for the past 2 weeks. And so I have seen teams, including our own, where we were front-running teams, and when we got punched in the mouth, shit, we're fucked.
If anybody knows, this is us.
Right, and I said that. I'm like, listen, guys, if you really want to go far, as a piece of advice, close teams, cool, you scored 6 points in the second half, but the problem is it shouldn't come to that. If you're really the juggernaut that you are, what you need to do is play a full 4 quarters and not this, we'll try. Oh, well, we're beating them in the first half. That's not how you don't win games in the first fucking half. Well, sometimes you do. But
they did yesterday.
They did yesterday. But
actually, no. I was going to say one thing before you finish your point,
Sure.
because I don't want to make it seem like I'm a homer. Philadelphia, when it was 20-17, put together a very impressive drive. That is really what closed the game, probably more than anything. But that drive was very impressive. It got to the point where we couldn't get off the field, and we tried. We tried. You know, I know certain people said that we didn't send pressure like we normally were, but we couldn't. Right. We the game plan in the second half was Jalen Hurts hand the ball off, and we couldn't stop him. So, you know, that cancels out that whole Lane Johnson. Oh, we could have closed you out, but we had Lane Johnson. You weren't closing anybody else out like that. I mean, all of your games end up like this. All of them. So Lane Johnson played in those games. But what was impressive was that drive, because I hadn't seen that from that team.
Exactly. Yet. And I agree with that.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No. That's my bad. I mean, I agree with you. That is something that I've needed to see from Philly is that, dude, you can't be putting yourselves in these situations where you almost lose these games and act like you're world beaters, dude, because honest to God, you could be sitting at 4-2 right now. You could be. And you're 6-0. Congratulations. Last time I checked, no disrespect, the Super Bowl didn't happen last night.
It did not.
It did not. And I'm telling you, like, listen, even if Philly goes to win, whatever, I don't care. But I'm just trying to let you know, do not be shocked, okay? Do not be shocked if reality comes back and, like, you're like, what the hell's going on? Because I have seen it happen. There's way more. I'll give them this. The NFC looks weak this year. Realistically, like, any team looks like they can make a run if they get into the postseason. And that bodes well for any team, including them, including us, whoever. I'm not saying that either of us are going to do anything, but that's a huge point there. And I think that's something that people aren't talking about is that, and I know a lot of Cowboys fans, and we'll probably get to this, guys, last time I checked, our job is to get to the postseason, whether that be we win the division, whether that be we're a wild card team. We need to you got to get there. So you know what we do? Week by week. What was the talk of the town with the players? Oh, we're on to Detroit. Hey, we're excited to get that. That was the vibe. Like, you could see the mentality of the team is, okay, let's move on to next week. Meanwhile, with Philadelphia, they're flying high 6-0. And I'm telling you, man, you got to be careful. I'm just saying, I'm hoping they adjust because I'm speaking. I mean, I hope they don't. Because if it doesn't, I don't want to be bitching and I don't want to hear bitching and complaining because you lost the game in the second half. And I'm just saying, I honestly, something in my heart of heart tells me we're going to see this team in the postseason.
Yeah. You talking about Philadelphia?
I think we're going to see them in the postseason because if you think about it, if they do end up ending up as the first seed, which I could give a shit less about, okay, cool. Congratulations. Because everybody in the tournament has a good chance. I mean, what was it last year? You had both number one seeds knocked off. So again, nothing's guaranteed. I mean, I think that if you're the 5th or 6th seed, there's a good chance you could see this team again.
Absolutely. And you know something? I would love that. I would love it. I would not be afraid of it. Honestly, I think it would add a little bit of a.
Let me tell you something. I'm not to cut you. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you the guys this right now. If Dallas and Philadelphia go to a fucking like a divisional round game, I will go. They have not. They've only lost once. In my time going, I will test my good luck on that. I'm just kidding. All joking aside, I saw you pulled up the schedule.
Yeah.
Talk about that? Okay, cool.
Yeah, let's definitely talk about that because I wanted to talk about it. So
sure. This
week we have the Detroit Lions, and from what I understand, Dak is expected to be cleared for Wednesday's practice. So he's going to play this week. And this is probably the timetable that I was expecting anyway for Dak to come back this week against the Lions. And what do you think about that matchup?
I have said, and if you know me, DMV, I'm a big believer in the NFL, obviously being week to week, as everybody knows, but also weird shit happens. Like when we lost to Denver last year, I actually picked us to lose to Detroit at the beginning of the year because I felt, well, it was either them or it was Detroit, because I felt historically Dallas does struggle with Detroit. I know of recent that's different with Dak, but like they always give the Cowboys a tough battle, number one. And especially in Dallas, nonetheless. I want to say, too, that they they're one of those snake bitten teams where they really could. The record is not showing how good they are. Like they're 1-4, but this team could easily be a lot better.
And they're
Record-wise.
tough. They're very tough. They're a
Yeah,
tough
so
team.
I think that listen, I have gone on the record, and I'm probably going to say this in the preview video. I could see us losing this game because of you're reacclimating certain parts into your offense. I mean, but I want to make it clear that the end goal is to get this team into a midseason form and role. So I mean, I think that I'm going to say that Dallas wins. I think they'll win this game, but it's not going to be as easy as people think it will be.
Yeah, and the last time we played Detroit with Dak, it was an ugly game. Actually, they had Darius Slay on the other side against Amari Cooper, and they had a pretty a spirited battle in that game. So Detroit, I do think it'll be a win. But it's like you get 2 NFC North opponents at home back to back.
Yeah, and you play the whole NFC North these next 4 games. You're going through the gauntlet there. You play the Lions, you play the Bears at home, then you go on the road versus Green Bay and Minnesota.
Yeah. So here's the good thing about this schedule so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's my quarterback in this game? Jared Goff. With Detroit, if this was the Rams, we might be talking about something different. Justin Fields.
I feel so bad for him, dude.
Bye. Now, this is Aaron Rodgers, and this is at Lambeau. This is a huge game no matter what. Green Bay could lose the rest of their games, but Mike McCarthy coming home, they're going to play up for this game, and it's going to be probably the talk of the town this game.
That's scheduled to be the game of the week.
Yeah, and Cowboys and Green Bay, they normally are the number 1 rated game anyway, just because of the historic franchises. So. And then the Minnesota Vikings at Minnesota again. I mean,
Minnesota's tough this year.
Yeah, they are.
I don't want to hear people bitching about them. I'm not saying you are, but I've seen people go through a fake team. No, dude, they are a legit team this year. They are winning games. Realistically, dude, I mean, if it wasn't for primetime Kirk Cousins, this team would be. I mean, we'll see. I'm really curious because that's a primetime game, I think.
Can we get them prime time as well? I would love it. I would love prime time.
If both teams, they might. I don't think they start flexing there, but I don't really care. I think I'm not sure if we're counting wins. I'm counting mine. I personally think Dallas they would go 3-1 in this stretch. I think the Green Bay game will be the telling tale. Honestly,
I honestly think I see the Cowboys getting up for this game. This right here is the trap game, in my opinion, because now we know that the Giants are good this year. To me, the Giants are also a good team. You can't knock what they've been doing. They've been winning football games. The reason that I say that's a trap game is because we suck on Thanksgiving.
I gave us a loss on Thanksgiving for that exact reason. Well, let me tell you. I'll say this, DMV. I believe this in my heart of heart. If they win that Vikings game, they will win on Thanksgiving. I really do think that because if you pay attention to last year, they lost. Like, it's weird. They'll lose, and then the momentum carries into the next game, and they'll lose that game. I think, 3 straight years whenever Dallas, I don't know what it is, but whenever Dallas wins the Sunday night matchup beforehand, or the Sunday matchup beforehand, they win the next game. I don't know what the hell it is. They just do it. So I think if that's going to be a double game for me. I originally had them losing both these games because I actually thought the Giants would be on the right track, but I didn't expect it to be this good. But no, I mean, again, your goal is to get to the postseason. And I think that, if the season ended today, we'd be going on the road to Tampa Bay, which they're a beatable team. They're a beatable team, especially with how Tom's been playing. Unfortunately, I don't really care for Tom anymore. But I look at the rest of the schedule, man. You play the NFC South. I think you got W's stacked in there. I mean, I don't want to go through the whole schedule and get ahead of myself.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of wanted to just focus on all right, what are our next four games? You know what I'm saying?
You got the NFC North gauntlet right in front of you, and I think that for me, you got to go 3-1 in this stretch. Really, I've said if you're at the bye week at 4-4, which I had the Cowboys at, I'm cool with that, right? But if you're 5-3 or 6-2, you are above what I believe you should have been at. And I'm cool with that because I want to put some context into this, right? Because again, it's any what is it? Not for long, any given Sunday. You know the sayings. Eagles got their bye week. They play the Steelers. I don't fucking know. Like they could lose. Like anything can happen. They can lose. I'm not
They
saying
normally play the Steelers. The Steelers always whoop their ass, don't they?
Traditionally, yes, but like I think the last time they beat the Steelers was at home, so I think they'll win that game at home.
Yeah, probably.
But usually, and again, if Kenny Pickett's out, then shit. But like let's just say they win that game. I don't give a shit. The Giants, right? I'm looking at the next 2 games they play more specifically. They play Jacksonville, and they play the Seahawks. The Seahawks are
I think that they're a playoff team, low key.
I think they are. Gino's been playing fantastic. He took Russ's secret stuff. Now he's cooking over there.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I have a weird feeling they're going to lose to I picked them in a pool to upset. I think the Giants are going to be due for a loss, and I'm curious what happens here. And I think it's going to happen in the next 2 games. So let's just play this hypothetical, right? Let's say you win your next 2 games, right? But then they play the Texans. Oh, they got a cakewalk schedule, right? I want you guys to understand something, right? And I've seen this happen in years past. Stay pace. You don't know what the hell's going to happen. As long as you're winning week in, week out, let the schedule take its course.
Yes.
That's my main thing. Because for all we know, I want you to think about this, right? Let's say they lose against the Steelers when they come out of their bye week, right? And let's say we win the next 2 games. By the time we're going into our bye week, we're having a conversation of, okay, Dallas is still now there's one team 6-2, one 6-1, right? And one team's 5-3 or 6-1, whatever. It's about who keeps pace. I remember in 2009 when all freaking 3 teams were 5 wins and the Giants went 8-8. Us in Philadelphia went to the playoffs, and we saw what happened there. And it's just, I don't know. I think that these next 2 games and how Dak gets acclimated in are going to tell me a lot about the team. Why? Because it's going to tell me if Kellen Moore is going back to his arrogant ways of passing the football, and that's what scares me.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing about the Detroit game that worries me a bit, because we talked about being able to stop the run. Swift is a very sneaky,
and I think he's playing, right?
Back. He probably will. It's Dallas, of course he's gonna play.
Know it. I know he's injured or something.
Yeah. So Detroit prized himself on actually running the football and then having Goff in play action. Although Goff misses some receivers and stuff like that, Detroit's gonna come in and try and play smash mouth football. They're not really a finesse Detroit team anymore. It's a good test for our defense, or the runs defense. Yeah, definitely, because we need to be battle tested a little bit more. I think we have been battle tested, but I mean those physical type games. Last night was a physical type game. We lost. I think we did well in it. Honestly, we came out a lot more healthier than they did. We banged them up quite a bit in that game. But we need to come out on top and know what it feels like to win another game. Even though we had won 4 straight. But, it feels good to have a win. And then the next
try
and get a win.
But then, and then again, we weren't expected to be at this point. Like, let me ask you this, DMV, and like answer honestly, and I probably know the answer. If we were 4-2 with Dak Prescott and the season went the exact way, and let's say he's playing, like, well, are we complaining here? Like,
maybe.
Is any...
Maybe.
Okay,
I think it depends. Because because with Dak Prescott, we were 12-5 last year. Right. And with us, we're like, here we go again. Okay, we have a good record, but we're losing against teams that we're losing tough games.
Right. And I agree with you there. I guess that I asked that just to kind of get a sense of what your expectation is, because for me, my fundamental thought process through this whole season has been, well, I didn't think you would be 4-2 at this point, even without Dak. But even with Dak, they're actually doing better. Well, season-wise, they're doing better than what I thought, which is good. But my main thing too is that you're the only 4-2 team in the conference, which is good, because that means you're still in line for that. I mean, when you really think about it, the one team that's in the 7th spot is the Rams, who you have a tiebreaker against, and that's massive, and people don't realize it. You winning these games will affect, like, losing to the Eagles and the Bucks. Okay, whatever. I think that the Bucks will win their division barely. I think that the Eagles, they'll probably go on. I'm just jinxing it. Maybe they'll go on to win the East. The main thing is that you're beating opponents that will be in line for wildcard spots, assuming that they're there. So that's really my big thing. Stack wins against NFC opponents, because at the end of the day, if you have, that's what killed you last year. That's why you didn't win the first. Well, then again, you needed just one win.
Well, if we had beat Arizona, things would be a little bit different.
Right.
We lost it. We should have stacked that one year.
And that's the thing, man, is like, I am not upset here because I have yet. I mean, then again, I might be upset if we get Dak back and we resort to old ways. But then again, I don't know. We don't know until we see it. And that's really my last question mark, is when Dak gets back. Because one thing I did notice, and I'm not sure if you touched on this, I don't know what it is, but like, I don't think CD really plays with heart with Cooper Rush. It just it seems weird, because I don't know if I'm just tripping or anything like that, but like
I just think he doesn't have the same capabilities that Dak does. So like yesterday, I know he got chewed out by Skip Bayless or
who Rush.
No, I'm talking about CeeDee Lamb for not coming back for that ball. But it's if you've ever run full speed for a pass, and it's so incredibly hard to stop right there. Maybe he could have tried to run and tag him while he was on the ground or something like that. But I mean,
it's like I'm just saying.
It's probably the frustration of, God damn it, I had a touchdown.
Yeah, and I think that's really the biggest thing there, is that honestly, that's a touchdown if, well, number one, if Cooper doesn't get pressured. But then again, that's the problem, is that and this is why I'm so done with the dumbass Cowboy fans that think that Cooper Rush is better than Dak, because I'm telling you right now, Cooper Rush, that's one of the weaknesses.
He had to let that go. That needed to be out before he got hit.
Right. If he lets go of that, and he, like, as CD's going, and like, if he does it how I think he should have done it, that's a touchdown.
When he was even, it should have been out. When he was even with the DB, it should have been out.
Exactly. And that's what cost you that game because of that. If I mean, I don't think they just go on to win the game. I mean, who knows? But again, I think that and DMV, that's the really big thing there. You're getting Dak back. You're going to get better quarterback play. And now you're not like, oh my God, please do not throw an interception. Now, that doesn't mean that Dak's going to be rusty, but that's where I'm talking about the game plan. Because if you are rushing him back in, and let's say he's like at 80, well, then again, I'm not expecting him to throw. Who knows? Maybe he throws 5 touchdowns. I don't really give a shit.
I don't see Dak missing those throws that were wide open yesterday.
That's what I'm saying, though. Yeah. Right. Like, I felt like if Dak played last night, I felt like he could have made those throws, even though I was like, don't play him regardless still. But that's a big thing that I think this offense is missing. I think it's missing that downfield ability as consistently as it should be, or the threat at least of that. When Dak gets back, all Dallas has to do is just hope that he plays this. And if he's 80 or 75% of 2021 Dak, you got yourself a nice little team here. And it's just a matter of, can you put it together?
Absolutely. And, you got to be blind if you don't see that the game was called completely different from week 1 to even yesterday, where, more crossing routes, more play actions and stuff like that. Like, let's help our quarterback. Let's not put him in danger's way as much.
Speaking of which, good point you brought that up, because I forgot to say this in the cons. Kellen Moore didn't attack the middle of the field when we had all of the opportunity to. That's what killed you. They like Chris Collinsworth mentioned it. I think I even said it during the game. I was like,
I think it's because Cooper kept missing them. Every time he tried to throw over the middle of the field, it was a damn pick or it was over somebody's head.
Probably. But yeah, that's really a big thing, though, is that you basically are playing with a hand tied behind your back. And again, going back to your point, not to kind of go around in circles, but like that goes back to the point of, if you're Dallas, and I said this before the game, you were not favored to win this game. You were like a touchdown underdog. Even before the game began, you were a 5-point underdog. So you weren't expected to win this game. Then I see people going out into the streets of Philadelphia acting like they won the Super Bowl against the team that didn't have their starting quarterback, against the team that didn't have their starting left tackle, against the team that didn't have literally a bunch of players on there. But I'm not using that as an excuse. My main thing is I want to have energies matched. If you guys, and I understand context matters because a lot of them bring up that Week 17 game. Yep, there we go. And that's my biggest gripe too. I just don't like this bullshit. Like, oh, we dominated. No, you didn't. Go back and watch the film like I did, like probably you did, DMV. I can't speak for you. If you go back and watch that game, Dallas should have not been in that position to have stolen that game.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to see, not only about Philadelphia, but Dallas. Think like that's really it. And again, I vividly remember back in 2019 when we beat the shit out of the Eagles at home. And of course, hey, you beat your rival at home. Great. I understand it's bragging rights, but still, you got bragging rights until Christmas Eve. And then I'm telling you, like, that's the more important matchup.
Yeah, we've all known that. We've all known that. We've all known that it was crazy. I mean, we've all known that. You know what I'm saying? But we've all known that the bigger matchup was Christmas Eve.
I would have rather lost this game than lose the game on Christmas Eve.
Absolutely. In front of everybody. Like, I know yesterday was televised like crazy, but Christmas Eve in front of everybody in Dallas, we're not losing that game.
No, especially, dude, when you look, let me tell you something. When you're looking at the schedule, right, and I'm not getting too far ahead, the Cowboys have plenty of time to have some tune-up to get ready for that game. And I'm telling you, and I say this with all due respect to Philadelphia, like, you guys are talking all that. Don't let that shit bite you in the ass, because I'm telling you, we will be clowning you guys for acting like you won the division in Week 6. Don't do that shit.
And one of the last things I kind of want to talk about.
Sure.
Because I had to cut you off before
go ahead.
Said anything else. Because Nick Sirianni, what do you think about that guy?
Fuck him. That motherfucker is a wannabe Philadelphian, okay? Listen, for those that don't know, I was raised in South Jersey and family in the area of Philadelphia. Mess me with that fake-ass bullshit. This is exactly why sometimes Philadelphia gets bad. And I'm saying this as, like, fuck the teams. Like, I could give a shit less. I'm just speaking this as a person. I hate that shit. It shows me you're a front-running bastard that is such a pussy that, we don't need to care about the rivalry. We don't have any bulletin board material. What the fuck's this shit about Jack and are saying, number one. Number two, saying, that's game, fuck you. Go fucking eat a dick. How about that? Fuck you. Listen, if I'm Mike McCarthy, I swear to God, if I was in his positions, hey, you want to see what this guy said about us when we nearly beat him? That's your bulletin board material for the Christmas Eve game.
Absolutely.
Fuck him with all due respect, because don't say that shit when you're a front running team. Fuck him. He's a front running piece of shit.
That's it right there. Life's Crazy said it. He's a front runner. And here's the thing, bro. That was a hard fought game for you guys. How dare you try and end that game like that? How dare you?
I was pissed because I felt. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think Mike McCarthy had every right last year to say "fuck you."
Oh, absolutely.
Game, fuck you. We scored 50. We scored 40. You guys healthy. I don't give a damn about that Lane Johnson stuff. It is what it is. But you guys, because you started the game healthy, you guys barely got that. Barely.
Do not let any Eagles fan try to trip you up. And I'm saying that because this game was 20-17. The Cowboys scored 17 unanswered points and nearly could have won this game. It was literally one stop away from really us just shit talking.
Because if we got that stop, they weren't stopping us. We were going to score.
We would have ran the clock out. We would have ran the clock out, and they wouldn't have had time to go down the field possibly. But again, I want to stress this, and you make a fantastic point. You say that shit when you beat us by 20 to 30 points. Oh, Scott, we were doing it at the beginning of the first. No, you don't say that shit unless you are putting up 50 points and you're blowing us out by 20. You mess me with that bullshit, and I swear to God, you better hope to fucking God that you win that 20. Because I think Nick Sirianni is a wannabe tough guy, and I hate that shit. I hate that shit in coaches. I've seen, you know who he reminds me of?
Go ahead. Who?
Josh McDaniels. Remember when his team started 6-0 and he was acting like an arrogant fuck?
Yeah, I do. I do remember that.
So I'm telling you, dude. Listen. I as much as that pisses me off more because of how the game went and you're acting like you're tough. I mean, listen. Congrats that you win the game. I'm telling you, dude. If I don't want to hear shit down the road, if you guys fall apart or if we beat you and things go that way, I don't want to hear it. You guys are talking all this shit. Congratulations. You know, you get bragging rights until honestly, go ahead and sweep us if we get into the postseason and we win when it matters, which I'm not saying we are. Isn't that what you guys always say? Like, don't mess me with that. Because last time I checked, weren't everybody, like all the Eagles fans saying like, oh, who gives a shit? You blew us out at home, whatever. I hear all these excuses. But for us, and I'm not Mr. Captain excuse, I just look at the game and I react. You mean to fucking tell me that me telling it like it is excuses? I don't want to hear from the Lord Brunsons or the Philly 500s. Mess me with this talking all this shit out of your ass. I'm done with that shit.
Yeah.
And I'm just being real with you. Listen, I'm not saying that they do a bad job at covering the team. Their team. Their team is 6-0. Congrats. And I'm not going to sit here and say you haven't played anybody because that's bullshit. Okay? I'm not saying that. And if you go on my channel, I've never said that. The only complaint I've had.
Said it.
Okay.
I said it.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
I can't speak for you. But what I can say, I said the only problem with Philadelphia, they need to close out games better. They happen to do that a bit better than this week. But stop it. You're 6-0. We just saw a team last year that started 8-0, and they looked really good, and they fucking lost their division. I've seen a team start fucking 11-0 and lose in the first round. The Steelers, the Cardinals.
Oh yeah.
Guys, I'm telling you, like, there is still a lot of season to go. I don't care if the Cowboys don't win another game. I'm just speaking as real as possible. Don't be doing this shit because that can bite you in the. Dude, oh my God, I would laugh my ass off if we won the. You know how and then I don't want to hear excuses. I know I'm going on this long tangent, but I'm just so irritated. I'm so irritated with how much these people are talking shit. What? Because you guys barely, after having a 20-point lead, barely beat a Dakless Dallas Cowboys team.
A Dakless Cowboys team. You let a Cooper Rush-led offense, score 17 unanswered points on the road, bro.
DMV, what's the last 2 wins the Eagles had against us?
The last 2.
Who was quarterback in the team?
Backup quarterbacks.
And what's happened when we've had our starting quarterback in there? When's the last time they beat us?
2019. 2019, that went in. I think it was the game. The NFC East. Yeah.
You literally, and I'm telling you, and I've said this, and I'm sorry I'm going on and on and on, but it's just it's bothering me because it's just I don't like seeing ignorance, and it's just like I remember when we lost 17-9. I went to that game, and you guys were talking hella shit because you happened to beat us at the end. Congratulations, you did exactly what you're supposed to do. I'm not downplaying that, and then you only beat us by 8 points because we couldn't do shit, and we
got down there. We got down there.
We just couldn't score. And again, like, that's not an excuse because, again, the Cowboys played like shit that game, in my honest opinion. But what that tells me is that the Eagles have not – I don't care what happened in 2020. When the last time the Eagles sincerely beat the shit out of us with Dak Prescott at quarterback was 2017. 2017. And I'm just saying, man, like – congrats, you guys won this game, but like, I mean, I'm one of the few that said if that's the
game I had to lose, is that one.
Well, not only that, I wouldn't have been celebrating if we were. I mean, I would be excited. Don't get it twisted, but I have my sights set outside of this game.
Yeah.
So stop.
Yeah, I get it. But yeah, man, we're gonna wrap this thing on
Yeah.
up. I appreciate you for stopping by. It's
Yeah, no
always
worries.
great to talk great Cowboys talk with you, man. Tell everybody where they can find you, what type of work that you put in,
Yeah.
like recent work, so they can go look for it.
Sure, yeah. So for those that don't know who I am, Space Cowboy Media on YouTube, at Space Cowboy MED on Twitter. I do a couple things. So obviously, I just do commentary on the Cowboys. I'll talk, just basic commentary. I don't do any film breakdowns because work. I don't have the time for that. Also, I manage the Stephen Jones parody account. Fun fact. So if you want to go do your due diligence, go follow those pages and also subscribe. I think we're at 8.3 subscribe, 8.3K, whatever. I'm too tired to do math, but we're on our way. I have said to BJ Nix of the Pick Six Sports group that if I hit 10K, I'm eating 2 hot chips, and I'm gonna die having to answer questions that are gonna piss me off eventually. So,
well, I tell you what, you gonna eat 2 of these?
Yeah.
I tell you what, look, if you eat them, I can get Mark to send you one of these.
Okay. I mean, my girl will probably be like, "What the hell are you doing?" But I don't care. I mean, I've eaten Carolina Reapers before, so that was fun. But I mean, I don't know. But I'm really excited. I think that again, Cowboys fans, I want to end this on a good note. I don't want to be like, well, I know I love getting pissed off, especially when it's stupid shit that pisses me off. But on a good note, got a 4-2 team that's getting their quarterback back. You got a schedule that's relatively favorable. You know what's going to happen? I don't care if we don't win the division. All I care about is, hey, let's just win next week.
Because we don't care about the division. We care about getting that monkey off our backs in the playoffs. That's what we care about.
Exactly. And that's what that's why I try to be as real as possible on my channel. I'm not going to just sugarcoat it. I've said it. I've seen other people say it, but look, all I care about is that you have a team that's going to win games, right? They're going to win games, and it's just a matter of, do you win them when it matters? Again, guys, we saw what happened last year. You had a 10-7 team go on a run defensively, and they put enough points up on the board to get to the Super Bowl. I'm talking about the Bengals. Another good example of this is that nothing's guaranteed. Did you not see what happened last year as well? You nearly had all 4 teams in the divisional round home teams lose. The only one that didn't was Kansas City, but barely. So again, let's keep our heads high. Even if we lose the Detroit game, guys,
there is a ton of football left to be played.
There is we were 5 games or 6 games in now. We got 11 more games to go. You know how much football is going to change in 11 games? I'm telling you, and that's not me trying to downplay the loss. I could give a shit if we lost. I could give a shit if we won. All that matters is, do you play football at the right time? We saw what happened last year. You see what happened last year with our team? So I'm hoping it's this flip script. Win when it matters.
Absolutely. And I appreciate everybody for stopping by, man. We're going to get up out of here, and we out. Peace.